Joe.
Presidente Mississippi Construction Education Foundation affording young people of boys and girls of all ethnicities, religious and political persuasions an opportunity to do something that they really enjoy. Mike, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. How are you today?
Good to have you. Day by day, sir. Appreciate it, and I thank you for coming in. It's always good to see you. The school districts are nearing the end of a semester. There is decisions that need to be made, or at least kind of kickstart them a little bit. And we're talking about how young, 9th grade, 10th grade, or 11th and 12th.
We're talking about 9th graders making those decisions on what career path they want to follow for the next 3 years.
Do you think we're? I'm going to backtrack on this one, because every time we have this workforce development conversation, and I know I'm sometimes spitting in the wind on this one, but I think it's so critical. I think a key piece of this is what we have to be. We have to be in those classes more than once a year or twice a year. We have to have some presence in here on career days. It is so important to just show them the opportunities. And I also think it's important to have people who are in that business who've graduated from high school and who are doing quite well and want to share that as mentors and peers with those kids in the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grades.
Oh, you're exactly correct. That's one of the things that we try to do a lot, is to bring back students that have completed career and technical education that are doing quite well, and to talk to young people about career choices they can make and opportunities that are out there. You and I can talk to them, but we don't relate as well as the new folks, the young people that are out there doing the job that we've asked them to do. And
they're going to listen to them.
That's exactly correct.
So is that something that most people are doing now? I mean, most schools are doing, or is there a need to increase that?
Well, there's always a need to increase it, but I believe a lot of schools are doing that now. One thing that MCEF does, we have 3 area directors that cover the entire state of Mississippi. We have 113 career and technical centers that we work with that work with 225 high schools. So when we go out, we visit with those instructors. We talk to those students. We bring in industry people who are recruiting and looking for young people to make some decisions about where they want to go. We're talking about those completers that are going to be finished that may want to go to work right out of high school rather than continuing their education in the formal or traditional manner of either going to a community college or IHL. But the opposite word of that is work, where they can go to work for these contractors, become an apprentice, go to school, have the employer pay for their education, and when they graduate, they have no debt, but they're earning the equivalent of someone that graduates from a 4-year institution with a BS or a BA degree.
Right. Is that apprentice available just in the 12th grade or in the 11th grade?
Well, we have a pre-apprenticeship program that works for the 12th grade or for the
12th grade.
third-year completer. State law says you have 2 years to complete career and technical education, but we allow them a third year that can be a pre-apprenticeship program. They can take the academic work that's necessary, but they don't have the OJT hours that go along with it. But if they can work and take the academic work, then they're a head up on everyone else entering the apprenticeship program.
Mike, how's that work? Does that work just on a daily basis in the afternoons or weekends, or how does that work? How does that fit into the academic schedule?
Well, you have to be creative because, a contractor in our world starts at 7 o'clock in the morning, gets off at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So if you have a student come available at noon, he only has 3 hours or she only has 3 hours to do the work. So you have to be creative. One of the things that we're trying to propose is take 2 students to complete 1. You go to school this 2-week interval and then switch over, and another guy goes to work for the next 2 weeks. So you rotate 2 people. You have to be creative and try to figure out what works best for them. Some programs do need early morning, late afternoon, and go until 5 or 6 o'clock at night, but most of them are 7 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
And here's the other part of that. And we're not just talking about construction or more. There's a multitude of different career opportunities out there.
Absolutely. This is not just construction. CTE education is definitely something that parents ought to look at today. I mean, there are so many opportunities, Paul, that you and I didn't have that we have available to them today. Diesel mechanic, auto mechanic, all kinds of good things that if you love doing things with your hands, if you like to see some result immediately of what you've completed, this is a wonderful opportunity for young people to be able to make a living, support a family, and do all the great things that we want them to do.
And we constantly say this, and I mentioned yesterday when we had a guest on, we were talking about how many people, how many jobs there are right now in the state, just on the Mississippi Employment Security's dashboard, over 60,000 jobs. People are begging, come on in and take the job. Say over 60,000 in the state of Mississippi, and that's a conservative number. So we need employees out there.
Oh, absolutely, and there are so many opportunities available. It's amazing to me why these young people are not just grabbing them as quickly as they possibly can, because the time is right. I mean, it is just absolutely perfect.
Well, and people are going to find out, too, that it's hard to separate math, computers, and a lot of other things, because whether you're in carpentry or flying a drone, they kind of all work together now. But most kids have that down pat, the basic skills for that.
That's so true, Paul, and that I'm so glad you mentioned that. Construction that we represent is so much different than it used to be. It's not just hammer and nail. You've got to have the computer skills. You've got to have the technology, because it's all there. As we've talked about before, when you go out on a big commercial job and there's work to be done and there's changes that need to be made, change orders used to take 2, 3, 4 weeks sometime to get the change order from the job site to the architect, back to the job site and done. Now it's a matter of seconds or minutes where you take an iPad, look at it, shoot a picture of it, change is made, and then you go. But we found out early in our careers at MCEF, one of the things that we did not do a good job of is educating our young people in technology.
That's true, yeah.
And so now we're one of the leaders. We're one of the few states that provided all the technology for construction programs to take off and go with software and hardware and all the things that our students are now taking advantage of and doing online classwork. Of course, pandemic offered a lot of that, but we were ahead of the pandemic, thank God, and we got a lot of them to have that opportunity, and we're so glad that we did.
I remember talking to a group once, and I said, look, you know why this guy can pick up this little ball and throw it to where you have a piece of wood and you can't hit it, and he's getting $40 million a year? Because there are not a lot of people on the face of the earth can do it like he.
That's right.
So you base what you know and how easy it is to do your job. If you're holding a sign, you're going to get paid that much, because there are a lot of other people out there holding a sign.
That's right.
But the less your job can be done by somebody else, the more you're going to make. And when you get into carpentry and things such as that, you are absolutely right. I want to continue this, but you also have to know other things like rules and regulations and local, state, federal building codes, everything else. It's a multiplicity of things that bring you to a level where you're going to make a good living.
Absolutely.
Because you know something the guy that didn't do it doesn't know.
That's right.
We'll talk more. Mike Barkett coming up next. Welcoming in to the Trustmark Studios, Mike Barkett, President, Mississippi Construction Education Foundation. Mike, any special events coming up? What's the next one?
Well, we just finished our Skills USA competition a short time ago and had over 200 competitors competing, both community college, our apprentices, and our high school students. So we were very fortunate, had a wonderful time. The next big event, I guess, is concluding the school year, getting wrapped up and getting ready to go again, and getting these young people enrolled in those CTE classes.
Yeah. What do you want the parents out there listening to know or to do?
I want them to know that, CTE education is a viable alternative to completing their career choices. That all they have to do is speak to their counselors about enrolling their young son or daughter in a CTE program. There's so many good programs that are available. in our school systems today that they need to take advantage of. I just hope that they'll understand that, to be a success, you don't have to go to college. You can use the gift that God gave you, and He gave us all good gifts to use, and you can be a success. It's not measured by the number of degrees that you hang on the wall, but what you do with those talents that He's given you.
Absolutely.
And I hope they'll just consider that as an alternative. It's not shameful. It's not embarrassing that your son or daughter is going to be going to CTE education. It's just another career choice and another career path. And the best thing about it, Paul, in a lot of cases you don't incur debt that you have to pay back down the road. That's the key that I think parents need to look at.
That's a very big key. Yes, a very big key. Number one. Number two, nothing precludes the fact or negates the fact that you could still go on get a college degree later if that's what you wanted to do. There are distance learnings and everything else. You could sell your business that you have, go back to college if that's what you need. You could take some extra courses in business if you want to kick it up a notch, or whatever it happens to be. When you take this route in 4 years, and we've talked about this, you've got maybe the boy or girl who graduated with you has incurred $30,000 to $60,000 in debt. You've made more than that in the 4 years.
That's right, and that person has a difficult time catching you because you're always making more money, and they've still got to catch up and pay that debt off before they can begin to really make money.
Plus the other factor of that, they got 4 years of experience in what they're doing.
That's right, and experience, as we alluded to earlier, is the key. Education is so important because the more you know, the more important you are, and the better you are for that company, and the value is going to be greater.
Mike, it's just a wonderful opportunity, and I think both of us have this commitment and passion to wish we could go out there and make the sale, knock on the doors, and say, hey, just at least consider this to every mom and dad. Maybe you guys need to put forth a brochure or a tutorial how to sit down and talk to the kids, because sometimes that's very, very difficult.
Well, it's talking to the kids and making sure that they understand the opportunities that are there. But more importantly, it's speaking to those parents and helping them understand that there's no shame, there's no problem. It's a great opportunity. Take a look at it, and it may be the right fit for your son or daughter. And I think it's important. I heard you yesterday with Scott and John McKay talking about the new 1388 bill and the things that it's going to do for CTE education and how we're going out to the prisons and working. And I wanted to let your listeners know that MCEF has been working with our prison industries for a couple of years now. We have 7 correctional facilities that we work with very closely today, and we have over 27 programs in those 7 correctional facilities, and it has proven to be a big success. We have had a lot of incarcerated individuals that are getting out early that we've been able to find placement for, and but we're giving them a second chance to move forward, and I think that that's going to be a great opportunity moving forward to finding and helping our workforce develop, as well as working with our National Guard and Air Guard folks that are looking to take those skills they've learned in the military and apply them to the workplace that we've got today.
You have any idea what the numbers are as far as the shortages and just say the construction industry in our state?
I think we're going to be short some 80,000 craft workers by 2024. Wow.
80,000.
That's a lot of number.
Just a couple of years, yeah.
Yeah, and I can attest to that. I was working with my son-in-law recently, and we were crawling under the house to put some new bridging in on a porch that had sagged. And I realized real quickly, when you're over 60 years old, that's tough to do. Your knees don't work well, and it was hard. And so, that's why we have the retirement that we do and moving on. When you do it every day, day in and day out, it just takes a wear on you. There's no question.
You talk about the physical attributes, and one of the things about today's plumber, they need to be in an athletic program and go work out because it's not easy getting down. It's that getting up that's hard.
Exactly. Exactly. You got to have something to hold on to because it doesn't work well.
Man, you're doing good work out there. We appreciate it so very, very much. I'm a little impressed. You said you had 225 different schools?
There are 225 high schools that participate.
How many are there out there that, there are more that you'd like to have on board. I can't understand why they're not.
Well, some of them don't have construction programs. They have other programs, but they've just not the area they live in don't have that need. But out of that 225 high schools that send students to those 113 career and technical centers, we do have 5,247 students enrolled in those programs.
I was just thinking about something, Mike. I love to watch these Alaska shows, these people who just get off the grid.
Yeah.
And there are 2 or 3 different ones, but one of them, a guy went out and he decided to chuck everything. I think it was, I forgot where, Oregon or someplace in the States. And he decided 15 years ago to go out and he went out and he was looking at some of his first cabins that he built, even to the one he had now. And I mean, they're lean-tos. Then there was this other guy who has got a nice-looking cabin that he's built, took his own meal out there and chainsaws. And I thought, you got to be really impressed in the middle of nowhere. And then the guy said, yeah, he was in the construction business, learned his trade in the construction business. So I thought, see, even though you're not building for somebody else, it's going to pay off one way or the other if you just do it for yourself. So that was pretty good.
That's absolutely correct. And I always use the analogy, too. You have 2 choices when you buy a home. You can pay someone to do the work or learn how to do it yourself and save yourself a fortune down the road.
That goes for electricity. That goes for air conditioning. That goes for plumbing. That goes for everything else.
There's not a trade out there that you can't benefit from knowing how to use it.
How much money have I spent on just small engine repair?
Oh, yeah, untold, I'm sure. Me too.
Yeah.
That's it. The vintage cars cost a lot of money.
Yeah. The only thing I learned is don't touch the damn spark plug. It's always a pleasure, sir. I thank you so very, very much. Don't be a stranger. Anything else and final thoughts here?
No, I just wanted to say again, take a look at CTE education. It is a wonderful, viable opportunity. Gives your young man, young daughter an opportunity to look at a career path that they may really enjoy down the road. And you can make a good living at it.
If they go to the website, will they see the different areas of careers?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Go to our website, mcef.net, and take a look. And if you have any questions, please give us a call. We'd be glad to discuss it with you.
For that person hollering in my ear, it is MCEF. Stands for?
Mississippi Construction Education Foundation.
mcef.net. N-E-T?
N-E-T, correct.
And it's all there. Go there and maybe share it with your son or daughter. Mike, as always, thank you, sir. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you, and I hope you have a happy Easter.
Thank you very, very much, and the same to